Okay, so why don't you tell me about this dementia-friendly houses of worship program you've got going on?
Okay. Well, a couple of years ago, like I said, when I first came to Florida, and my uncle had just passed away 2 days after I started my job, he actually had asked me about 7 years before I ever knew I was going to be in Florida. He said, "You're a nurse." He said, "Please be a voice for us." This was early on in his early stages of dementia. He had to give up ministering. He had to give up home visits, all that kind of stuff. And he said, "Just please be a voice for us because this is very painful." And so as he was progressing through his disease process, my aunt and my uncle had to stop going to church. People stopped visiting. Even the other pastors stopped visiting. And it became a very lonely, difficult place for both of them, and a very sad place for both of them, where my aunt could not take him anywhere to where she could still be with her peers in the congregation, and he could be in a church service that he could handle. Or if she wanted to go with him, she could. There was nothing offered. So he ended up it was just very, very sad. So after I came to Florida, I started looking around. I was about a year into my job. I started looking around to see if there were any churches in the area, no matter what denomination or faith organization it was, to see if they had a dementia-friendly service, like a dementia-friendly mass.
How long ago was this?
This was about 2 years ago.
Okay.
So I pulled together a panel of organizations. We have the Lee County Sheriff's Departments on our panel, Dr. Mabel Lopez with Mind and Brain Care of Fort Myers. We have Comfort Keepers, which is a home health agency. We have Shell Point, which is a retirement community. We have Right at Home, and just several, and Grace Church is another church, or a church that just came on board this year, and Choices in Living Adult Daycare in Cape Coral all came on board, and we decided to put together an initiative to reach out to the churches to go in and say, hey, if you have folks that are at home that cannot come to your service because there's nothing offered to where the person with dementia can handle it. It's like the 3-year-old who can't sit through a regular service.
Right.
So we send them to children's service that
Right.
they can handle it. We want to set something up like that for the person with dementia, where the caregiver can even come with them, or we can get them back out of isolation and they can get back with their peers. We're glad to come and train the churches to do whatever that is, how to set that up, and then the church does their own faith-based thing or what their practice is. And there was nothing here, so we started doing that initiative. There was a parish nurse in Naples, Florida, who heard about this. I do a lot with the parish nurses, and she took the ball and ran with it down in Naples, and they just had their first mass the first week in October. And
That's really cool. What church was that?
That was St. William Catholic Church.
Yeah, we know them. Off of Seagate, down there.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So we have a couple of other churches that are in the process. Once they get up and running, we'll get that information out there to the community.
How far away are we from being able to do that?
We hope to have, we have one in Cape Coral that tried to get up and running, but here's the issue, and this is really important for the churches to understand. The caregivers are at home. Mm-hmm. These people are typically at home. These are not people in nursing homes or dementia care units. These are people that are still living at home. The caregivers, unless we are the hands and feet and reach out to them and tell them and reach them either by media or by mouth and say, hey, we have this service going at the church. We'll come get you. We'll take your loved one. We don't care how they come dressed. If they want to come dressed up and one shoe on, one shoe off, it's okay. We don't care. Don't waste your time and energy to get them there. Just get them there, because we've discovered through neuroscience, they've discovered that the part of the brain that's connected to their spirituality is so strong. And when we can help someone who is a person of faith tap into that, a lot of that dementia characteristic or the behaviors start to come down a little bit. It gives them joy. It gives them peace, gives them an opportunity, and it helps the caregiver. Yeah. Helps the whole family. Exactly.
Okay, well, that's fantastic. Is there anything I'm still not asking you?
I'll tell you a few little bit of statistics right now. A lot of people will say, well, we don't have this problem in our church because we're a young church. And yeah, we do. And as you well know, it affects teenagers very much today because our baby boomer generation's coming through. But right now we have about 5.2 to 5.4 million people in the United States who have Alzheimer's disease. Okay? By the year 2050, it's going to be about 16 million. Okay. It's the sixth leading cause of death, and 1 of 3 people over 85 and older die of some form of dementia or related effect of the dementia. In Florida, in 2016, people that were 65 and older who had dementia, this 65 to 85, reached 510,000. In 2020, it's going to be about 580,000, and in 2025, it looks like it's going to be about 720,000 people. That's a lot of people. That doesn't include the snowbirds coming through. That doesn't include the people moving in and out. So it's a lot. So
is it in Florida, that many?
In Florida.
Oh, okay.
In Florida. In Southwest Florida, we have about 55 to 60,000 people that have been diagnosed. Now, these are people that are diagnosed. This doesn't include all the people that aren't diagnosed. And in Lee County, we have around 20 to 22,000 that have been diagnosed. So with that amount of people, I can guarantee you somebody somewhere in some of these churches or in your synagogues or wherever is at home taking care of someone with dementia, and the caregiver is failing as well as the person with dementia. They're declining together.
Sure.
And we need to be supportive of them. We're holistic, mind, body, and spirit.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, that's more people than I imagined there would be.
Yeah, I know. And that's what the baby boomer generation coming through. And we're seeing people, early onset dementia is considered 65 and younger. Older onset is 65 and older. And we're seeing more and more younger people, late 40s, early 50s, mid 50s with dementia, Alzheimer's disease or a form of dementia. Most of those people have teenage kids or college-age kids.
Yeah.
These are our caregivers of tomorrow. And I would like to see where our churches, our faith-based organizations have these programs already in place. So God forbid, if I'm your mom, I don't know how old you are, but I won't tell you how old I am.
Yeah.
But if I'm your mom and you have a career here and you have to move me here to live with you and your faith is very important to you and you need that support.
Yeah.
You need respite, you need prayer, you need whatever it is, that you can take me to your church and it is already set up and ready to go. And you know that your peers that you
or
grew
any
up with know
church.
you. Any
Yeah.
church, yeah,
Yeah.
any place, yes.
Yeah, that's huge. I saw that movie with Julianne Moore. What's it called?
Alice.
Still Alice, yeah. And that was terrifying. And so, I'm assuming because of whatever reason, all of our, the rate of cancer and all kinds of diseases, autism just keeps increasing exponentially, that it will only increase. Is there any hope for a cure? Are they working on a cure? What's the status?
They're constantly working on a cure, and we hope that someday there will be. The issue is that even if we have a cure tomorrow, and I really want to stress this, if there is a cure, when there is a cure, not if, but when there is a cure, it's not going to be on your internet. It's going to be a worldwide, on the news, press is stopped. It's going to be hot off the press, on TV. I'm sure that we have found a cure because this is such a massive problem around the world. This is not going to be one of those things that's on your internet that you click on, oh, they found a cure, and then you get a virus on your computer.
Yeah.
It's a lot of bad stuff out there like that.
Yeah.
But the one thing we do know for 100% sure is that we have caregivers that desperately need help right now. Mm-hmm. This journey can be anywhere from 8 to 10 to 20 years for people, and these folks need help now. Mm-hmm. And so the quicker that we can help the caregivers to help their loved ones increase the quality of life for both, the better it's going to be while we're waiting on a cure.
Okay. And is there anything that you can do today, and whoever can do today, to make their situation more tolerable, or is there anything they can stop doing wrong if they know somebody with Alzheimer's dementia? Like, what's the first thing you tell somebody when they find out their loved one has dementia?
Okay. Well, there's a couple things about that. Denial is a real difficult thing sometimes to work through, and it's related very much to grief. If someone is told, you've got acute pancreatic cancer, you're looking at 6 months to a year, and you're able to communicate with that person all the way to the end. When you're told that your loved one has dementia, a form of dementia, you can, like I said, you can be looking at 8, 10, 20 years plus, which is a long time. And so sometimes what will happen with a caregiver, and sometimes with the person with the early stage, there'll be some denial of, oh, we're not that bad, this isn't going to be that bad, or it's not that bad, or they're not as far along as they thought.
Yeah.
And we see that a lot in driving.
Sure.
Or handling finances. Just like in Still Alice, when she first got lost and she had a problem with finances and things, it was like, oh, it's just stress, oh, it's just this.
Yeah.
And it's part of the disease process, could be part of the disease process. But working through that denial, acceptance is huge. Caregivers are going to go through a range of emotions, which is normal, from anger to frustration to resentment, you name it. They're going to go through it. But you can go from a very powerless negative place to a very powerful positive place. You can take that anger, you can take that resentment, and let it launch you into something as in a positive plan. For instance, if you have a family, a wife taking care of a husband, and let's say they've got a couple of kids, and she's got all this burden on her now, what is she going to do? And she's never really had a close relationship with her adult children. This may be the time to start bridging that gap with her adult children. And that's taking something very negative and moving to a positive so that they can all be working together to help that loved one through this process.
Interesting, and I'm sure each situation is going to be unique. But okay, well, thank you for sitting down and talking to me. We're looking forward to your program and presentation at our church, and we're really grateful to have you guys around.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, and we love what we do here very much. And so thank you for having us come out.
All right.